Yo, what's up, everybody? So check this out. A lot of people have been inquiring about whether or not you can generate as nice imagery with Stable Diffusion as you can with MidJourney. Some people have even tried putting their MidJourney prompts inside of Stable Diffusion, got back this garbage gobbledygook and been like, what the heck, this thing sucks. But they might have seen like some awesome Stable Diffusion imagery and they know it's possible, but they can't figure out how to get there. So we're going to get into it. So check this out. This is my platform right here. It's powered by Stable Diffusion. It's not launched yet. If you want more information, whatever, stay up to date, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff, whatever. I'm just going to use it for demo purposes, but I'm not going to get into all the special features and unique things I got going on here. Maybe. We'll see. So we're going to start off with a handsome man. And we're just going to try to generate a high quality, professional looking photograph of a handsome man. So I'm going to click to create a generation, and while that's happening, I'm going to go to the settings. And these are basic Stable Diffusion settings along with some extra stuff that I added for some unique features in my application and to make some improvements on some things. So you can see that I'm using the SDXL 1.0 model. This is the latest Stable Diffusion model. And as you can see, we've got some garbage back. So if you get this sort of thing going on with any particular Stable Diffusion model, just go ahead and bump up your height and width of your imagery. So right now it's generating a 512 by 512. I'm going to bump that up to 1080 by 1080, and that's going to immediately fix that issue. It's actually a requirement of SDXL 1.0 to utilize a higher resolution imagery. So anyway, while that's happening, a couple of things. We're not going to go into all the details of the features and whatever, but just note that if you're playing around, you're trying to get a certain look, you're getting some wonky results or whatever, play around with steps and guidance, and maybe if necessary, we'll get into it. So here we've got a few generations. All we did was a handsome man, and that's not too bad, actually. Right off the bat, it did a pretty good job. It often just butchers things, but, you know, that doesn't quite look like a photo. It looks overly retouched or something, but at least there's not as bad deformities going on as there usually is. Here we've got some funkiness happening, and obviously wrong time period, and we're getting black and white photos, and something's just not right. So we're going to improve on that. While I play around with the prompt, I'm going to generate a few more in hopes that we get some of the other anomalies that occur. So we're just going to basically specify a photo, because we don't want that kind of illustration looking thing, and we want a color photo. So you can see it actually, a handsome man generated a illustration because we didn't specify. So we're going to say a color photo of a handsome man. And you're going to see that it's still possible, though, that even though we're specifying color and even though we're specifying photo, it might still give us some illustrations and some black and whitish photos. So we'll see. So you can see a lot of deformity going on here, but at least it's kind of a photo, but still has that kind of fake look. Let's see what we got here. An old-timey photo, so we definitely want something more modern. And we can adjust that just with some simple things, like even just saying something like 8K high quality. We might get a more modern looking photo. And then to complement our prompt with the high quality, we want to go into the settings, and very important and crucial to killer Stable Diffusion results, negative prompting. So we're going to complement our prompt by also saying we don't want low quality imagery. I don't want film grain. So let's go back there. So basically, negative prompts are what we don't want in our imagery, and it really complements your prompt overall. So let's see this other generation that came up. That was our previous prompt. So now let's do one with this particular prompt. 8K high quality, a color photo of a handsome man. With the negative prompt, we don't want low quality or film grain. So now you can see there is some seemingly quality improvement, but it's still very fake looking, right? It's like not a photo, and there's all these deformities going on. So we're going to address all this. So this is good because I wanted to, and you can see it still kind of looks like an illustration-ish even though we requested a photo, totally looks like an illustration or an overly retouched photo, right? So we're going to go back to our negative prompt, and we're going to improve this by saying we don't want anime, we don't want cartoon, we don't want a drawing. At least everything was in color, right? Yep. Alright, so, and then to fix some of the deformities, we're actually going to add, we don't want deformed face, missing limbs, which happens often, deformed fingers, deformed hands. Now, if you go to some of these Stable Diffusion communities, you'll see you'll see people's prompts, and they'll include their negative prompts because that's such an important part of it all. And a lot of these terms, even like the 8K, high quality, these are common terms that we use for prompts, the main prompt and negative prompt. So you should definitely look into those communities and find out. I could copy and paste some stuff that I use all the time to generate great imagery, but I just want to go through the process. So deformed hands, deformed fingers, whatever, missing limbs, let's do 3 legs, 3 arms, 3 hands. This is just stuff that comes up. So we'll go ahead and create some more generations. And actually, since the eyes are always getting mixed up, I often do distorted eyes as part of the negative prompt. Alright, so let's see what we got. So we got, again, you know, I do not like that it looks like a photoshopped image, but we're gonna fix that. But you know, the quality's almost there. It's getting there. It's pretty close. So I'm actually gonna add, I like adding high quality, highly detailed, high contrast, and we'll see what that generates. And then there's one more thing. This should get us pretty much where I want it. And then there's one more thing I'm going to do to just tone down this freaking airbrushed look. So let's see what we got. See, that one still looks like an illustration. Now there's other ways that we can include something in our prompt to really emphasize this stuff even further. So if we're still getting kind of illustrations, drawings, whatever, we can add, I'm not going to get into that in this video, so save a little bit of the secret sauce. But we're going to add, I did drawing, what did I do? I did drawing, let's do illustration, I think I did 3D already. We're just going to add illustration, and just to improve not getting these kinds of drawings. And actually, did I include painting? Film grain, anime, cartoon, drawing. Okay, so we did illustration. I'm going to add painting, just to omit that kind of stuff from our results. Okay. So again, it's close. Even this image, it's a really good high quality image. So 2 things I'm going to do. First off, yeah, actually let's just get into it. So I'm not going to get into the details of how this stuff works, what it does, whatever, but just basically, when it comes to steps, it's called technically inference steps. Just think of it as iterations where Stable Diffusion looks over your image. How many times do we want it to look over the image and try to improve some imperfections or whatever? But you can totally overdo it and butcher it. So the whole thing about prompting in general is about a balance. So you might have these settings set up with your negative prompts and everything, and then you change your main prompt to something totally different, and everything you set up no longer works the same way, because it's a balance around your main prompt always. So I'm going to bump up the steps, and the guidance, I'm just going to tone that down a little. Right now it's at 7. I like it at about 4 or so. Depends. Again, depends. So let's see. And that's to tone down some of this airbrushy look that I'm not a big fan of. I'm going to add portrait to try to get a kind of more consistent portrait framing. Okay, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. Something more like this. Some nice detail going on there. High quality. Doesn't look so fake. Has a little bit less of that kind of makeup glow or whatever. Anyhow, that's good enough. Let's fast forward through a bunch of generations, and I'm going to show you my favorite ones at the end of it. Alright, so these are some of my favorites that I generated. The eyes are a little bit off, but great photo. Another great photo. This one is when I added designer suit to give him a little bit more flashy fashion flair there. And then that original one from earlier. So yeah, there you go. This is the way you finesse Stable Diffusion.